Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly. Sunderland are half the way to Wembley. Hello everyone and welcome back to the ROKER Rapport podcast, where we are revelling in a 1-0 win over Kenny Jackets Portsmouth. At the fourth time of asking, Sunderland have overcome their promotion adversaries and now have a second leg in which to seal the deal. Sadly, the entire occasion, albeit very good to watch, especially in the second half, was overshadowed and underpinned by a brutal injustice on a certain Turkish centre-back, but we shall get to that in good time. Until we get to that, I will introduce the people who are with me in the studio. First of all, we have Johnny Goldsmith, who basically lives here, never leaves.
Yes, here again. I mean, where else would I be?
No, yeah. There was a small tent situated outside the David Putnam building in which Johnny Goldsmith is known to live and cook his food. Can you confirm that's true, Johnny?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, there you go. He's also joined by Gav, who is making a rare appearance in the studio, but an appearance nonetheless. How are you doing, Gav?
Not bad. Steaming in back stick.
No?
Getting on the end of that corner.
Oh.
To save the pod.
That's you, yeah. You're the impact sub at the far post.
The Chris Maguire.
Yeah. The free running cam with a deadly finish. That's you, Gav. And joined as well. And Gav, you're going to turn that phone off, young man. It's not on.
See, that's the etiquette. I've not been there.
Honestly, yeah, you can't expect your podcast guests to be able to talk and able to keep the phones off, otherwise they'll be at a higher level. You know, it's just deliberate to think otherwise.
It was Conor Bromley sending a Photoshop of himself, which is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Let's have a look.
Bad audio, this, by the way.
Oh, crikey.
We'll put it on Twitter just to show people how bad it is.
Oh. Yeah. Connor has sent Gav a collage of his own face for no reason in particular, as far as I'm aware. But obviously,
background, maybe thinks I need new one.
You know, he sat there thinking, you know what it is? It's 13 minutes past 5. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works of the podcast. That's what he's like. That's Connor's voice. We are also joined by the soulless husk of Graham, another ROKER Report member, normally seen on the Extra podcast. You've seen better days, Graham. Am I right in thinking?
I'm not well,
Why aren't you well, Graham? You've been sick. How many times have you been sick, Graham? Just how many times, Graham?
A lot.
Why have you been sick, Graham?
Because I'm a bad lad.
Why are you a bad lad, Graham?
Because I drink too much.
Okay, there we go.
Problem.
See, well, the first step is admitting it, of course.
Yep.
Anyway, so a very quick summary of the game last night. Chances are you've seen it either on Sky Sports or in the stadium itself, but we'll give you a brief run through anyway. Sunderland beat Portsmouth 1-0 in what was at first a fairly cagey affair. The first 45 minutes, both teams were rather drab. Neither seemed willing to break the other down and couldn't really pass water, for want of a better term. They really couldn't ping the ball around much at all. But the second half came around, and while Portsmouth remained as stagnant as they were in the first half, Sunderland were anything but. They really stepped the pace up, and after some continued pressure with Honeyman very unlucky not to score when his header was saved by the head of Craig McGillivray, which was a really jammy save in my opinion, but hey-ho. About 5 or 6 minutes after that, Chris Maguire pinged one from outside the box following Lyndon Gooch's cross, which meant that Sunderland took a 1-0 lead. Alim Ozturk then, the referee rather, gave the Sunderland fans a bit of a scare when he sent off Alim Ozturk after he fairly blatantly won the ball from Christian Burgess, a decision that will hopefully be overturned. But that being said, even though Sunderland went down to 10 men, Portsmouth still couldn't do much of anything. We saw the game out fairly comfortably, and we've won this leg 1-0, which means our aggregate going into the second game is exactly that. We have the 1-goal advantage. So, before I finish talking,
take a breath.
Yeah, I'll take a little breath. You know, it's always good to do that. You know, it's.
Was it Burgess that he fouled?
Was it Burgess? I thought it was
Isn't Burgess the centre half of the ponytail?
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who was it he fouled?
I thought it was Evans, but
I thought it was
Evans. It was Evans. It was Gareth Evans, yeah. It was Gareth Evans. I do apologise.
It was one of the things that stuck out of Kenny Jackett's rather hilarious post-match interview where he said the referee had no choice but to send Ozturk off.
No choice.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Well, I mean, he won the ball, but it's going to have to be a red. The hand's forced there, really, isn't it?
It's one of them things where if it was the other way around, you said, I don't know why the referees give him a red card. You know?
But even before he said that, he said, I've seen it back a couple of times now, and the referee had no choice but to send him off.
What?
Yeah,
He needs to go and get some glasses.
Kenny Jackett's just like a Poundland sensationalist Premier League manager, wasn't he? You've got your figures like Allardyce and Warnock and Daishu, always have quite interesting like presses. He's just like the League One version of that, really.
He's got a crap name.
Yeah, Kenny Jackett.
Jacket. Honestly.
Okay,
Just
so
great to me.
3-word review. Let's see what the people on Twitter made of yesterday's game. So, Mobile Macam says nothing to fear. Tom Atkinson says Maguire, you beauty. Macamino says Pompey, dirty weirdos. Sam Blakey says much better spirit. Chad Jarvis says no straight red. Tim Ward says halfway there. Fellow Roker reporter Jack Ford has evidently miscounted his words for the 3-word review because he said blood, sweat and backbone. Jake Hanna says Alex can't run because he beat us in the 10k this morning. Awful bloke.
Okay.
Awful bloke. Adam Coates says where was everyone? Agar says same again lads. David McCluskey says Chris King Maguire. Mark Oliver says job half done. Stu Rutherford says wise men say. Prince Alim Ozturk says Prince Alim upset. Magic Matthews says justice for Ozturk. Tom Pugh says Ozturk and King. Joe Gorman says no part-timers. Billy Morgan says how is McGeady? Andy Snowden says all hail Maguire. And Peter Sullivan says viva la King. So, yeah, that's our 3-word review. A lot
Very
more.
regal, wasn't it?
Very, very regal, very regal. Yeah, we've got Prince Alim, we've got King Maguire, we've got the entire royal family there.
We're getting there, aren't we?
It's really not that bad. No, it's considering that we've only ever had jokers in the past few seasons.
Well, hey.
Right, well, I'm going to stop talking now. That's my cue to stop talking. So we'll go to you, Gav. You were at the game. What did you make of it? Give us your thoughts.
I think the first half made us worry more than it did feel hopeful for the second, because when we went to half time, I felt like, God, we're just not going to break these down. But thankfully, Ross done what he hasn't done a lot of probably in the last third of the season and made a sub early doors, which changed the game. I was one of the people who said I think Chris Maguire should have started, but to be fair, as an impact sub, it worked, didn't it? And that was what we needed. I mean, I texted in our group chat saying at half time that I felt when Maguire's on the pitch, people look for him all the time, always try to get him the ball. And it makes us just that little bit more, I don't know, we had the edge when we do that. And Portsmouth didn't really know how to live with Maguire, I didn't think. I just thought he changed the game totally. Turned it on its head.
What does Chris Maguire, or rather in just that case, what did Chris Maguire bring to the team that wasn't in the team prior?
Bit of leadership. Not in the sense of like cat them all screaming at people and telling people what to do, because I thought he'd done a great job of that last night.
Absolutely.
I just mean, although you're a cohesive unit as a team, you also need to have players who you can look upon and go, if I give him the ball, something's going to happen. McGeady is generally that player, but we didn't have him. So when Maguire came on, it was a case of we got the ball into positions in the second half we didn't in the first. Honeyman stopped chasing around like a dog chasing a balloon because Maguire came on and played that role 10 times better, because Maguire is just a much better player in the number 10 role. Although he did play off the right a bit, but you know what I mean.
He made very good sort of like incisive runs through the middle, which you could either get a shot away from or just bring the wide plays into the game more.
Yeah.
Whereas it was a bit sort of sterile in the final third without his introduction.
Yeah, and I just think we're a better team when he's on the pitch. So it was sensible from Ross to bring him on, and he obviously changed the game. Like I say, it was fantastic. I thought when the news filtered through that McGeady was good, obviously missing 5 minutes before, everybody kind of like the life just drained out of them. Like, oh,
there was a collective groan, I think, around the stadium, wasn't there?
Yeah, and credit to Lyndon Gooch, he totally stepped up. I've seen people slate his performance on social media, and I just don't understand it. I thought, although I've been one of his biggest critics over the last 6 months or so, I just thought he was brilliant. I thought he'd done everything that he was doing in the first part of the season, where he was harassing players when he had the ball in good positions. He wasn't holding on to it too long. There was that one where he caught the long ball out of thin air, put Thompson on his backside, then whipped the ball across to Honeyman, who's really unlucky not to score because of the keeper.
Really unlucky.
I thought that was the best bit of play in the game. So I just think we've got to give credit where it's due with Gooch. I think he's took a lot of stick deservedly because his performances have been terrible, but I thought he was the one player who stepped up a great deal when McGeady wasn't in the team.
There was a cross in the first half as well where he came down just from the right hand side, and he picked out a cross and he curled it right under Wyke's forehead.
Yeah.
So I think as for accuracy, his crossing was a lot better yesterday.
Yeah, more of that. If he does more of that, he will play every week. Because in the first 6 weeks of the season, he'd done that every week. Every game with consistency, he was putting the ball on a plate at Maguire. He was scoring goals himself. I think he's still the top assist maker in the team, even though he probably hasn't registered an assist since 2018. I'm pretty sure he hasn't got one.
I don't know the stats that well, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure he is still the top assist maker in the team, which is crazy, really, because we haven't really struggled to score, have we? But it just shows how good he was in that first part of the season. Hopefully that's his signal to say I'm going to kick on for the last couple of games. Absolutely,
I couldn't agree more. Graham, when your spirit still resided in your body, you were at the game yesterday, weren't you?
Yes.
So what did you make of it?
I thought first half was like, it was like watching paint dry. It was really, really poor. But then credit to Jack Ross. Normally what he says at halftime seems to change the game quite negatively recently. But I think obviously he said something at halftime that kind of got the lads up for it. And I thought, kind of like Gav was saying, I really feel like Maguire kind of led. And I think all the people that you're looking to step up in a game like that did do that. Catamore was great. I thought he had a really good game. I thought Lyndon Gooch was really good as well. I think we just needed first half to be maybe a little bit braver and just go for it. But second half, I think when Maguire came on, we just felt like we had someone that could open them up. Yeah, I think that was a big difference.
The first half was definitely very cagey, wasn't it? We said that earlier on.
Too cagey.
Yeah, there was an element of that. Neither team was getting into a goal scoring position, and neither team was really passing the ball around. And I think we spoke there about Chris Maguire. How much of an impact does he make for you, Graham? Because we were putting together moves only really when he came on.
I love him. I absolutely love him. For me, there's a lot of talk of Maguire being a better impact sub, and he's not that consistent. I think it was a Burton game where he came back after he'd been dropped, and people were like, once he plays 4 or 5 games, he goes off the boil a bit. He's better as an impact sub. For me, he's one of our best players. I think our best football we've played this season has been when Maguire's been on the pitch. I think if McGeady and him are both playing, I think we look so much more dangerous. I think we create so much more. I think he holds the ball up really well up the top. He pushes us further up the field. I mean, it's quite evident that I'm quite a big fan of George Honeyman, but at the same time, I think when you're talking about number 10s, I was really surprised that Honeyman got the nod in that role ahead of Maguire, especially with McGeady not being fit, because for me, Honeyman's not been that great for the past few weeks.
I don't think Honeyman's a natural number 10, do you?
No, I think he's a lot better deeper.
His game got better when he moved out wide for me yesterday. As soon as he went on the right, I mean, the people around us were arguing about why is Gooch coming off, he's been great. And I was thinking, well, tactically I can see why, because he's more disciplined defensively. And I thought down the right-hand side, Portsmouth got nothing with Honeyman on that side.
He didn't.
But as a number 10, he was chasing shadows. He was getting nowhere near Wyke.
Yeah.
He doesn't get in the position enough as a number 10 where I think he's a goal-scoring threat. I think he's quite neat on the ball. I think he gives us good energy. But I don't feel like he's someone who can... I even think Luke O'Nien would be better in that role. I think even Luke O'Nien or Maguire, I think they're both better number 10s from what I've seen than Honeyman is. For me, Honeyman's a lot better, deeper.
I don't think Luke O'Nien will ever get that further up the pitch now. I think now that he's sort of cemented himself he's cemented himself now as a right back. I don't think Ross would ever consider putting him in such a sort of fundamentally different position from, a centre attacking mid and a right back are two very different positions. I don't think he would want to change him up that much in such a short space of time. So I think O'Nien will stay where he is.
He looks like the type of player who could develop as a right back and be... I definitely think if we got promoted, I would be happy with Luke O'Nien playing right back.
I think O'Nien was just very, very willing to learn on the job.
He's a sponge, isn't he?
Yeah, whereas a lot of players will maybe just think, you know what, no, I was signed as a fullback, I'm going to stay as a fullback. I've been signed as a midfielder, I want to stay there. I don't want to retrain, I don't want to invest this much, but I think with O'Nien, you've got someone who is willing to just, charge headfirst through a brick wall if it means being, someone who can contribute a lot to Sunderland. But let's go back to midfielders for a second. And in fact, let's just stay on Maguire just for a second, because I was looking at his game and I was looking at how he was doing when he came on compared to what we had before. And while I think he does, he is like a leadership figure, there's definitely that element about him, and that's great. But what we didn't have before he came on was someone who could really look like they were going to finish the game off and really just sort of, well, I suppose, put it bluntly, someone who could just find the net, really. I don't think, apart from Honeyman's unfortunate miss, that we really had someone who looked like doing that in that game. You know, Morgan was off the boil. Wyke was, he was very mobile, but he the end product wasn't there.
There was no one coming off him.
There was no one coming off him. No,
he was winning a lot first half. Wyke, he won boatloads, and he was causing bother for two massive centre halves at the back. But there was no one like Maguire just coming off him.
No,
I think when Honeyman went to the right, and then you had did Gooch finish on the left? Sorry.
No, Gooch went off.
Oh, Gooch went off, yeah.
Maguire ended up going on the left when we got the red card.
That's right, of course. Yeah, I'm forgetting about the red card. But like in between that period of before we went down to 10, when we were like attacking and going for it, there was just loads of people coming off Wyke in the second half because of Maguire. Like I thought like Honeyman looked like he was getting into better positions. I think we would have won by more than one if it wasn't for that red card, which is why, you take the 1-0 win and stuff like that. But as soon as Maguire came on, we just seemed to dominate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought,
I agree.
If that red card didn't happen, I wouldn't have been surprised if we got a second.
Not the way
third.
Gooch was playing.
No, we had the game by the scruff of the neck before that red card was shown. So, again, we'll get to that in a bit. But with Maguire, I just think that his finishing really just set us apart in that game. Obviously, when he scored his goal, there was not only was obviously the finish excellent, but the positional awareness there was crucial.
Totally
if you look at where the ball comes in from Gooch, and I think perhaps like a less experienced, less intelligent sort of striker perhaps goes to the goal line and tries to get something on it along with the striker who it's currently aiming for. But Maguire sort of steps back, foresees the possibility that the ball could come back out to him, and then from there it's just a case of just pinging it. Seeing where it's going to go and just pinging into the bottom left-hand corner. And again, later on in the game, when we were down to 10 men, he makes that run through the middle and then he gets a shot away and it only just hits off the post and goes out. So this brings me to my point. Could we be playing Chris Maguire as a striker? We'll throw this one to you, Johnny. I don't think you've spoken yet. Do you think we could play Chris Maguire as a striker? An out-and-out striker?
I'm not sure. It depends. If next season, it depends on what league we're in.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in the Championship, no, I don't think so. If we're in the League One and maybe one of the strikers is injured, then I'd give it a go, yeah, I would. But
he's had a couple of games there. Not full games, but he has played
Walsall away
in a 2. Yeah, he did, Walsall away was one of them. I just think he's a type of player you let roam and do what he wants. I mean, he scored a goal just like the one he scored yesterday against Luton at home, if you remember.
He did.
Yeah, where just it comes out to him and he does the same thing, volley from just inside the box. I mean, I thought as soon as that ball sat up, it's in the back of the net. I knew it was. When you can envisage what's about to happen in that split second before it happens, I knew he was scoring, and he's the one player in the team who I can bank on for that to happen.
I think we all saw the ball come out to him, and then we see, right, there's Maguire in the centre of the box, completely unmarked. It's going to fall to him. He's going to hit. That when he hits that, it's going to be true, and it's going to go where it needs to be.
It was a bit like the Defoe goal, wasn't it?
I was just about to say that. I was literally just about to say that.
The League One version of the Defoe goal.
That's the level of quality you've got in the team, though. And like you were saying before about Maguire, there's not many people or players, in that team that could have the anticipation he had. Like I totally am with you on what you were saying before about him seeing like his body shape. He knew that was possibly going to come back out, not to go for the header. Just sat back, got his body in shape, and he almost gave himself time to pick which corner he was letting it into. Like, there's not many players in the team can really do that.
No.
Which seems daft, doesn't it?
For me,
daft because it's like
every week. But
if a ball falls to any professional footballer 18 yards out with no pressure on them,
you would expect them to score.
You would, but for some reason, it's just not a skill every player possesses under pressure.
If you look at the way he hits it in a way that is very much that was very much foreseen, that if I get the ball from here, this is where I'm going to aim. When the ball comes to him and he sees the players in front of him and the way he bends it, it sort of like scoops its way past all the defenders that could be in the way and is well beyond the reaches of McGillivray.
Yeah, he's a natural finisher.
Absolutely.
He's a natural goal scorer.
Absolutely, is he? And I think as well it's worth saying there's very much, I think, a difference between a roaming player like him and a player that runs around. The difference of the words there is absolutely vital. A player 100%. Who roams, he'll move around knowing that any position he could possibly see himself getting into is one where he could create or score. A player who runs around was like 09 at the start of the season where he was just too excited. He was just trying to just going around kicking everyone's legs. Like, oh yes, I'm on the pitch. Just happy to be alive. But
he reminds us. I mean, I know we're 2 leagues down, but similar type of player who had a similar effect on us, or like I say, at a higher level was Sessegnon, a player like you say who would roam, pick the ball
God,
up.
that's a stupid comment. Sessegnon's nowhere near as good as Maguire, you idiot.
But those players don't grow on trees, whatever level you're at. You know what I mean? And League One, especially, Maguire's got just a little bit of quality that a lot of other teams don't have. There's a reason he's playing at this level, isn't there? For whatever reason, he's 29-year-old playing in League One on the back of a really poor season at Bury. But it's been nice to have him at Sunderland. I just think if we get promoted, we'll look back at players like Maguire and think for maybe a good portion of the games this season, he's won us a lot of points, won us big games, big game player. And there's how many teams can say they've got one of those?
Free transfer and all. Just remember that, free transfer.
Yeah, it was a great spot. I think a lot of managers could have seen the season at Bury, and perhaps not distinguished the symptoms from the cause. You know,
we didn't pay a penny for him, but it wasn't.
We didn't.
He had a year left on his deal at Bury. You know what I mean? Bury gave him to us.
Yeah,
we got him out. We got him out of Bury because they just didn't want him.
Thanks, Bury.
And the gamble paid off for us.
Absolutely did. Absolutely. I think he's potentially quite a mercurial figure. I mean, I don't know him personally, of course, but I could see the potential for him being quite a negatively aggressive player should things not be going right at the club. But I think that might be dependent on whether or not the club's run right. I mean, Bury was not being run right this time last year, and I don't believe it's being run brilliantly now.
Maybe when he was a lot younger, definitely, I would have thought that.
Yeah.
You know, when he's a bit less mature, but he's 29 now.
No.
He's one of the senior figures in the squad. He's a game winner, so the team are naturally going to look to him as like, oh, give the ball to Mags, and you'll stick it in the back of the net 9 times out of 10.
But
So,
although perhaps maturity with an asterisk, because he's certainly not maturing when he's winding up opposition.
but you know what it is as well, though. Like, I
great,
just think
though.
that's great. I think that's great.
Absolutely love it.
How many times have you watched Sunderland over the years and thought, why we're not getting into these? Why we're not surrounding the ref? Why we're not winding them up, winning free kicks, winding
Pompey's
the
done it
time
to
down?
us 4 games on the trot.
That right back's the worst one for us. Thompson, he's the biggest snake we've played all season, right? But a player like but their fans will love him, and it's like we love Maguire for that reason.
Yeah, and other fans will hate Maguire, and they'll say like, "Oh, the absolute cretin." But then it's just a.
They'd love him in their team, you know. That's where, you know, a team like a player like that, someone who winds up the fans and winds up the players. They'd love someone like that in their team.
Oh, most people would. It's one of those things. We'd all say that we hate a player like player X, player Y, but
it's happened over the years. Joey Barton, Robbie Savage, Dennis Wise, like everyone hated them apart from the teams they played for.
Yeah.
You know what
then
I mean?
Other teams would be like, you know what, actually, yeah, if they'd signed for them, they'd be quite happy with it. But it's one of those things. That's not me advocating Joey Barton at all. Like, you can stay away. Like, for
nope,
no.
There was a point actually where I did think, you know what it is, Barton, I would have him at Sunderland. I think he was at Burnley at the time.
Well, was that time you talked about someone like Savage? He was almost signed for Sunderland in Roy Keane's
but he had that awful like voice, like that voice message.
It was
thing.
the what's up? And he was like, nah, not having it.
Saying, brilliant.
Don't think Chris Maguire has that as his ringtone.
No, I think no. He's just got what would Chris Maguire have as his ringtone? Do you reckon?
All hail
Some
the king.
proper Ned music, like that one that shonking over late. There we go. That's Chris Maguire's ringtone.
Aye, something like that. Yeah. Now you know, have you seen Limmy's homemade show? You know that new thing he's done.
I love Limmy.
They're always like 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4,
knock at the door,
5, 6, pick some sticks, 11, 8, lay 'em straight, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, big fat hen.
This is what the podcast has come to.
Yeah.
I love Limmy.
Welcome to our insanity.
But at what cost? It was worth it, right?
At
what cost?
Let's take another call. Right, anyway, let's get back on task.
Literally nobody listening to this has got a clue what you're talking about.
I reckon that's going to. I reckon 4% of our demographic will get that. You know, some people think
as long as you're hitting that demographic.
Yeah. I want to see Kenny Jacket on Thursday. She's turned the Waynes against us. I want to see that. She's done the Waynes against us.
She's done the Waynes against us. Right, okay, we're going to leave Limmy there. Right, so back on task with, as well, on the topic of midfielders, that's something I want to talk about as well. Someone that I'm consistently not very impressed with, and you might very well disagree with me on this, but Max Power. I feel like Max Power, he's playing currently in a ball-winning midfielder's position. He plays further back, in front of the back four, much like Ledbetter and Cattermole do. But despite playing as a ball-winning midfielder, he doesn't do a very good job of winning the ball off opposition. He's a much, as an offensively minded player, he can pick out an incisive pass, and he's got a lot of energy about him. But he just, there's a lot of times where you see him sort of like trying to like mangle the ball off another midfielder and just can't do it. It's quite frustrating to watch. I just don't think he can play there.
I've heard Jack Ross talk a couple of times about Power, and he said that he speaks highly of how vocal he is on the pitch, how he talks, how he constantly on everybody's case, and I think you do need players like that in the team, which is why I think he played yesterday and has played for a few weeks. To be fair to him, he's done all right. I just think yesterday he wasn't very good.
There've been a few games now that recently where I thought he's played like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's for his energy, because Ledbetter's range of passing and defensive abilities and set pieces are better than Power, but he's just not getting in the team ahead of him at the minute. So I can only presume Power's ability to get around the pitch and at least be in the positions where he can be a nuisance. That is why he's in the team, because he doesn't do a lot for me that I think you can hang your hat on Max Power to have a good game today. If Maguire had been fit, and he wasn't even in the squad yesterday.
Was he injured? Is that what I was
I
gonna
don't
say?
know,
Where
because
was
because Ross said he had a fully fit squad.
But he wasn't even on the bench, because it was Denver Hume went on the bench, I think. ahead
So,
of him when McGee
I can only presume he just was left out of the squad then, which is a shame if that's the case, because I keep saying this, I just think he's the best centre mid in the squad.
Dylan
All round, I think he is. I think, especially when you're playing with two holding players, McGeoch is the best defensive midfielder in the squad.
McGeoch's injuries have just all come at the most agonisingly worst opportune times for him.
And then when he played really well against Luton and got dropped for no reason and was out of the team for about 3 months.
Our best form has actually been, like, off the top of my head, kind of around the time when we beat like Plymouth away 2-0. We had McGeoch and Honeyman as the two deep midfielders.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go forward with that, but just quite a curious stat, I suppose.
Yeah, Honeyman, I don't know. I just feel like when I'm looking at them on the pitch, and I looked at yesterday's team sheet, I look at Honeyman playing in a Cam's role, and then I look at Power playing in a ball-winning midfielder's role, and just think, why don't you just get them and then just flip them round?
I haven't rated Max Power. Like, I've not really ever seen a game where I'm going, oh my gosh, what a performance. I've never been convinced by him.
Never?
Not really, no. I'd like to. He has a great name, and I want to see him do well.
He is a likeable character, isn't he?
Yeah,
You do want to see him do well, yeah, but the other part of us thinks he's been in the Championship with Wigan twice now. Obviously left before he could play the season, but when he was there last time, didn't pull up any trees. Kind of think he's a League One midfielder, isn't he, really?
Might be one of those where he's sort of like neither here nor there. You know, the kind of players who always go up with teams from the division below, but then never quite cut it in the one above. I don't know.
I think you're on about, like, obviously we're talking about like team spirit, leadership. I think he's a big part of that. He seems to be everybody's mate. One thing I notice is every single time you see a photo after a goal's been scored, Power's the first one.
Yeah, he is.
He's obviously a good character around the team, and that's probably why he's just in the team ahead of Ledbetter at the minute. And he'll probably play Thursday as well, even though he didn't play particularly well this weekend. I just think there's maybe reasons we see other than what we can see with our eyes on the pitch why he's in the team. He's obviously very, very vocal.
I wish he'd play a bit more, like, because I liked him when he first was in the team at the start of the season. I thought he was really good, but even like Bristol Rovers away in the checker trade, that pass to Will Grigg. Like,
he's got it in his locker,
He does.
Because there's something there which makes me kind of like him, and as a bloke he seems like funny, spot on, really good for team spirit. But
that's it though, isn't it? If he's further up the pitch, surely he's got more leeway to find passes like those.
Yeah.
And we got to remember as well that he's got a decent peg on him from outside the box.
Yeah.
He put one away against Peterborough not too long ago. Hit a couple, I think, earlier in the season. Gillingham, yeah. He's got a decent. He's a decent player to depend on from a shot outside the box.
Yeah.
Did I say shot there? Don't think I said shot there. I just think he's a player you can depend on for a decent finish from outside the box, and he can put a nice pass through to a player like, let's say, Will Grigg, or as I was advocating earlier, maybe Chris Maguire could do that job. But that's entirely hypothetical. I don't think Ross is going to make any drastic changes between now and the last two games.
I think the team
or last one game, hopefully two.
If McGeady's fit, McGeady will come in the team, obviously. Otherwise, Maguire might play, but I mean, there's not much you can change there, is there really? It's just a case of trying to stick with what worked.
Yeah.
And up until we got a red card, it was working very well.
What should we be wary of, Graham, going into the reverse at Fratton Park? While we have the goal advantage, is there anything in particular that concerns you about playing Pompey for the 5th time this season?
Yeah, there is. I'll make no bones about it. I really don't like Portsmouth, their team, nor their fans. But at the same time, there's a reason for that. Like, like we're talking about Thompson before, like I want to pull his head off every time I see him play. But the whole team seems to have like a level of like shithousery. And it kind of annoys me, especially if it's going to be at Fratton Park. Like their fans at Wembley, like say what you want. I didn't really like the ones I bumped into, but in terms of the noise they made, I thought they were really, really vocal. I think Fratton Park, obviously, how many people can you fit in there? Like 15, 17. 17.
Just 17.
Just 17
that kind
people.
of
2 digits, just 17.
just 17 people. That kind of ground and the importance of the game, and Pompey are a big club, especially at this level. I think there's a lot to be wary about. There's points in the season, it's quite a frustrating stat from a Sunderland perspective that we've had so many comebacks this season, like more than most, but then we've also had so many times we've let leads drop. We must be the only team in the league that can win, get an equaliser in the 94th minute after being 2-0 down, like we did at Walsall or whatever, but also the only team that seems to go in the lead an awful lot and then let that drop as well. But it's more kind of like Portsmouth and what they're about and what they can do. I don't worry about them in terms of their talent, if I'm honest with you. There's no one that I look at and I go, oh God, he's some player. They don't have a McGeady. They don't have a Maguire for me. I think Gareth Evans is all right. I think the two holding midfielders they have, I think Naylor and Ben Close are one of the some of the best midfielders in the league, but they're more of a team unit, aren't they? And it's more kind of their style of play, how they can wind certain people up. Their fans are obviously really vocal. They're going to be up for it. And yeah, they lost against us yesterday, and we managed to break that streak of getting beat off Pompey, who we haven't beaten in 10 years actually up until yesterday.
Really? I remember I've been in the same league as them for 10 years. So
but I don't think Portsmouth fans are going to be, if I'm honest with you, too disheartened. It's just still 1-0.
It's like half time, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
But do I think we have enough to go to Portsmouth and get a result? Absolutely.
What about you, Gav? Anything you're wary of?
I'm wary of Pittman coming back in the team because apparently he'll be fit. Who I think, although he's really slow, doesn't sprint. He just seems to run every game he plays in. And I thought they really missed him yesterday.
They did. They were very lacking in that sort of area as well. Just as I think we
Brown,
were.
the other player who was missing, who's meant to be back, I think. Those basically, Portsmouth have an 11 that pretty much plays every game.
Mm-hmm.
And two of the key components never played yesterday, who might be back fit Thursday. So if that's the case, then we've got that to worry about. But yeah, I agree with Graham about Fratton Park. Really, I just think when we were down there early in the season, they were loud, very close to the pitch.
Yeah, it's a lot more of an intimate ground than the stadium are like. And not as big, not as many fans you can get in there, but the ones who are in there are a lot closer and a lot sort of tighter together than ours are. So I think it's a different environment, definitely.
The bells worry me a little bit.
Why?
Because it annoys me.
Well, you worried about being annoyed?
He wasn't allowed in the stadium with that, that knob with a bell.
Was he? There's a
video I saw yesterday. Anyway.
Yeah.
Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly.
Johnny, what about you? Anything you're particularly concerned about?
Home advantage. I mean, I think Portsmouth were that dangerous, and it's just surprised me. I'm thinking I thought there'd have been, I thought at least scored one goal. Somehow we managed to get a 1-0 win. I feel like the home advantage is going to be difficult to contend with. All they need to do is score 2 goals at home, which probably isn't that difficult for them. And things just changed completely. So I'm very, very anxious about that. And obviously I don't really know if I trust Sunderland to keep a 1-0 win, and that's it.
Flipping it on its head, though, Portsmouth's form now, including yesterday's game, is poor.
Oh, it's crap.
I think they've lost 2, drawn 2 in 4, is that right?
Yeah, because they drew the last game of the season and they lost the game before that, didn't they?
They did drop a few players for, was it Accrington they played the last game? They had a few players, I think Jamal Lowe didn't play and stuff like that.
Do you know this? I thought we did a brilliant job of keeping him out of the game.
I actually was thinking I was gonna mention about Jamal Lowe as being like one of the dangers, and then I was like, did he play yesterday? Like, I actually couldn't quite click if he played. And I was like, yeah, he did. We just nullified him so much.
I just think that's one of the jobs Cattermole did really well yesterday, was to keep him.
Was excellent.
He basically man-marked Lowe. Every time Lowe had the ball, Cattermole was there. Oviedo was brilliant.
Oviedo for me, he doesn't get enough credit. Oviedo, I know he's got the prestige that not many other players in that team, maybe bar McGeady, have, but I feel like he's been scapegoated from that one game when we drew 2-2 with Peterborough and he got sent off for a stupid kick at that other player. But since then, I can't really see an awful lot of what he's done wrong.
Is that when he kicked Maddison up the arse?
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, but to be fair to him, every time he's played since, he's done all right.
He has, at the very least, he's done all right. He's never had a bad game for me this season. Not a bad one.
Left back we have.
Yeah,
like without.
And I don't think you'll see him back at the stadium. I think that was when he was waving around the pitch. I think I know he did it last year, and we all thought he would be gone. But I genuinely just think, no matter what league we're in next season, we can't afford him. So he
probably thought we'd be gone last season as well. To be fair, as well.
He's probably the player of the top earners who you can see you're making a bit of money on. Not necessarily making money on what we paid for him, but we'll get a couple of million out of him.
You can make 2-3 million on Oviedo. Another championship club or someone abroad would buy him for that, I think.
But if he does stay, the thing I like about Oviedo is he'll not complain about it. Like you haven't had a peep out of him, and people were like, "Oh, he's not in the team." Like a few weeks ago, around like sort of the Wembley, sort of like March, sort of April time.
It was actually after the transfer window, wasn't it?
That was right. And people were saying, "Oh, he must have chucked these." Like, and I don't think he has. I think when he's been interviewed about moving club, he's been very honest. Like, I've got no issue being at Sunderland. Like, I like being at Sunderland, but if an offer comes in, I think he knows the wedge he's on. He knows what could happen, and West Brom would have been a good move for him because I think he is a high-level championship player.
Yeah.
Oh, he can play in the champ. Man, this is a man who obviously played in the Premier League for a good number of years, who was only kept. I mean, I've said it a million times. He was only kept out by Leighton Baines, who obviously is a very good.
He's playing the Europa League as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know what was funny about? I know it's going off on a bit of a tangent. What was funny about that? When he was at Everton, he wasn't signed to be a left back. They had like an injury crisis. Oviedo was signed as a winger. He was a winger at Copenhagen. Left winger. Dropped back into defence to play wing back. And was that good? He was keeping Leighton Baines out of the team, which just shows what he's capable of.
Some boy,
leg, didn't he? Was it a leg break that got? Yeah, that's the only reason he went out of the team at Everton.
He's just a Costa Rican Luke 09.
The Everton fans still love him because he scored the winner at Old Trafford against Man U, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's right.
So he's a
canny bit lad.
I think Charlton will beat. I know Charlton beat Doncaster today, but slightly, didn't they? Was it 2-1?
2-1.
So you got to think Charlton will probably win that, and then you've got Portsmouth. And if you're them looking at Sunderland, would you not be wary of everything about us? Because I would. Although we finished fifth, you must. If I was them looking at us, I'd be going, they've got Brian Oviedo, they've got Ian McGeady, they've got John McLaughlin, who's arguably the best keeper in the league.
One of easily.
They've got Cattermole, Ledbetter, player like Power, who I know we've just been talking about, but he's in League One, he's fairly well respected. They've got Maguire, they've got Charlie Wyke, who got 17 goals last season. They've got Will Grigg in reserve. Like, these teams must look at us and think, like, Charlton and Doncaster must have been over the moon they avoided us.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not being big-headed about it. I know we have our limitations and I know we've been poor at times, but I just think we are the team to avoid.
If you look at our team on paper, you can look and think, right, okay, yeah, they've had a few bad patches this season, but they are absolutely not the team you want to catch on a good day. Well, arguably the worst team to catch on a good day in any of the league. If you look at these other players, I mean, of course, Luton and Barnsley now out of the equation, but they had some very good players. Arguably not as much as us. Kiefer Moore was always a scary player to play against. You know, you never like to look at James Collins at Luton. Charlton have Lyle Taylor, but we've got McGeady, obviously, who you know he's the best winger in the league. You know, there's no bones about that at all. You've got Will Grigg, who obviously has a bit of a gammy angle at the moment, but it's not a name you'd like to see on the bench as an opposition. Because you know what he can do if he gets in a goal scoring position. You got Charlie Wyke, as you say, who was banging them in last season for Bradford and has threatened to really improve as this season's gone on. There were a lot of players in that team who just a big, as you've said, a big League One names. If you've got our strongest team on paper in a starting 11 and they're on form and they're playing with each other as they always are, I wouldn't like to play us over two legs. If you took a team with who were fundamentally the same as us with, let's say, instead of Aidan McGeady, they had Jefferson Montero. There we go. And another winger.
What a throwback name that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Just pull that name out of nowhere. You had someone in League One who had like Hugo Rodriguez, someone like that in League One. You'd be thinking, oh God, I don't want to play them over two legs. Christ, no, not at all. That's just how it is. But anyway, speaking of Sunderland players in particular as individuals, let's get on to what is for me the hot topic of the evening, which is extremely controversial red card that was Emma brandished in the face of a crestfallen Alim Ozturk when he fairly brought down Gareth Evans, getting all of the ball and very little of the man. What did you see, Gav? What did you see from where you were sat?
From where I was sat, it looked like a good tackle. It looked like a hard, fair tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the pace of which he raced across to get to the ball anyways was probably what decided for the referee, because the ref has looked at that, he's coming from the side quickly, the player's bundled over, the ball hasn't actually flown out of play to the right. So you're thinking, to the left, so you're thinking, well, has he got much of the ball? But the ref, straight away, he was getting his card out as he was running. He was straight over the red. He didn't even think about it, didn't talk to the linesman, didn't get like a second opinion on it. So he was fairly certain of what he'd seen. And I just think we are well within our right to get that rescinded. And if we do, is that the fourth red we've had rescinded this season, if that happens?
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely atrocious. Like, has that ever happened?
Power,
4 red cards rescinded in
Maguire,
one season.
Ozturk.
Yeah, Maguire against Luton was one that when Probert completely lost control of the game. There was Power at Walsall. There's Ozturk.
Power had another one, was it?
Power only had one. He got 2 reds, but he had the third rescinded.
I feel like this would be the fourth. I may be wrong. Someone will probably correct me.
Well,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a check game, wasn't it?
Third or fourth.
Even three's
ridiculous.
bad,
Yeah, it's. In what other profession could you afford to make such a crucial mistake 3 times?
The thing that annoys me as well is that referee was really good when he refed us against Doncaster the other week.
It was Andy Wilmer, wasn't it?
Yes, it was him, yeah. It was a good ref in that one, yeah.
Really good.
I can remember talking about it after going, it is. He done a really good job that night. He let the game flow. He made his decisions, but he made them well. He controlled the game. I thought yesterday, complete opposite.
No,
all over the
decided
shop.
to be horrendous
And could have cost us promotion, if you think of it that way.
Still could.
By making a bad decision, which put us down to 10 men with what? Don't know, half an hour left to play or something.
25 or something.
Yeah.
and a free kick from outside the box is the
Which they hit the post with.
Yeah. Oh God, how different a game is that if that goes in?
And there you go. The referee would have cost us a win, would deserved potentially.
What do you think would have happened if that went in? Do you think that's another 1-1, or do you think it's even worse?
I think we would have defended the same way. We would have. I mean, it was great to see what we're capable of when we're concentrating, isn't it? Because the team automatically, and this happens quite often with teams who go down to 10 men, they suddenly remember how to defend because they're like, right, we have to concentrate completely now, and they don't switch off. And it's often said, isn't it, that teams who play with 10 men are harder to play against.
Mm-hmm. Say Ozturk's red card doesn't get overturned, which I'd be surprised, but we've seen weirder things. Who do you play?
Dunn and Flanagan.
Yeah.
Dunn and Flanagan?
I mean, I wouldn't have started Flanagan yesterday, but I thought he did all right, actually.
Yeah,
he did.
But
then he's that type of player, isn't he? He's a 1 and 2 player. He'll have a good game, a bad game, and I just hope he doesn't play badly on Thursday.
The issue with Flanagan is when it's... Well, I mean, I don't like his distribution, first and foremost, but it's just his lack of physicality is what lets him down. Arguably let him down in the build-up for what could have... for Ozturk's red card. Because I think he was trying to grapple with someone. I forget who.
Yeah, was it him who lost the ball?
Yeah, but then he just lost it, and then I think... I don't know. And then obviously they could square the ball to Gareth Evans, and he just had a great bit of space to run through one goal. And I think in that position you need Flanagan to get something on that. I mean, whether or not he wins it and gets it clear is by the by. What he needs to do at the very least to just get rid is just to put him off enough to sort of not let that attack materialise. But the issue is that he just whoever's on him just shoulder barged him off the ball, and then next thing you know, Gareth Evans is through on goal. And if you've then got the awful scenario of either Ozturk makes a challenge like that and then gets a red, where even though he shouldn't have, he got it. The alternative is that he could race through on goal and score. It's not a situation you can afford to have. So he's a bit of a bomb scare for me, Flanagan. He worries me a bit.
He's a League One defender.
He's a League One defender, yeah, absolutely.
But is he a centre half though?
Well, not by trade. He's not, is he?
No.
He's played as either a defensive mid or a fullback is for large parts of his career. He's not a centre back. But
long term, I would worry about him being first choice at Sunderland because he has been for much of this season. I just think going forward, we need better. We should have recruited better in the winter window, and we didn't.
No.
And that's why players like Flanagan are still playing. But I mean, thank God for Alim Ozturk, because he has actually been really good since he came in.
He came out of nowhere, really, didn't he, when he came back? And I think when we all saw, I mean, I remember about 3 podcasts ago, sort of like cheering, like ironically, oh yeah, let's get him in. Why not? It'll be banter if nothing else. But then when I saw the name on the team sheet against who was it? Against Doncaster, I was like a little bit terrified, thinking like, oh God, my abiding memory of Ozturk is that bloody awful challenge against Forestieri, against Sheffield Wednesday, and of course pre-season where he looked about 3 stone overweight.
Well, do you know what it is? He is a great example for what being patient and working hard can get you.
Yep.
Because he was totally written off. He was definitely not fit. He didn't play for what seemed forever, but he's come into the team, he's fit, he's motivated, he's kept his head down, and ultimately he's just been able to come into the team and do the job we've wanted our centre-halves to do all season.
Yep. Just a no-nonsense centre-back.
Yeah.
And again, hark back to our conversation with Danny Collins where he just said, a centre-back at this level, all you really need to do is have that awareness and have that ability to get just to hold off a nippy striker who's under pressure and getting rid of the ball. And he did that. And that brings me as well on to, we've spoken at length about what Sunderland have done well.
Yeah.
Let's talk now about what Portsmouth didn't do, because they had a bit of a shocker. I thought for all of Kenny Jackett's prestige about his tactics, etc., he got it completely wrong when he stepped up against us. Obviously, they weren't playing for a win at all, which was, in my opinion, a terrible idea.
They came for a 0-0.
They came for a 0-0, which was a terrible idea, because you can't sit up against us at home like that. Eventually, we're going to get something together and get something. We always score. It's only Barnsley. The only team who've stopped us from scoring is Barnsley, and they're out of this league now. And
that game was a total freak game where the wind spoiled it. Totally.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would actually put it down to the weather. The fact we didn't score that day.
Honestly,
I was there in the crowd watching it, and I've never seen wind affect a game of football like that. So
it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So other than that, we've been hard to stop.
So I think if Jack had played for the 0-0 and he's made a very naive decision that's maybe unbefitting of someone of his caliber, if you want to say that. But another thing as well that I thought he did as well, it was his management with his players. Like Jack Ross's subs were excellent. I think we'd all agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Jackets were terrible. I reckon.
Yeah. The guy who came on up front with the first thing I noticed about him was he was wearing short sleeves and gloves, which was strange because it wasn't cold.
No.
And I just thought,
immediately we're like, okay, you've not got the resilience to play in this game like this, yeah.
And then he just spent the rest of the game complaining, trying to win free kicks and not getting them, giving fouls away himself.
Oh, that was Omar Bogle, wasn't it? That's what he's called.
He gave so many free kicks away. It was ridiculous for a player. He came on and actually set them back because Hawkins, while he never looked like a goal threat, and he hasn't really against us most of the time, but he always seems to play well against Sunderland.
Do you know what it is, though, right, with Ollie Hawkins, is that all game he was essentially pocketed by Ozturk, because while Ollie Hawkins is a big lad, so is big Alim. Yeah. And I think because Alim's that no-nonsense kind of centre-back, he's really good at just like fending off a player like that in a very simple way.
Well, is it the first time they've met?
But I believe so.
Did Ozturk play in the last game or not? I don't think Hawkins did he? I think James Vaughan started that game.
James Vaughan started, Ollie Hawkins came on later in the game, though. Yeah. But what it was I think Ozturk was able to match Hawkins' physicality toe-to-toe, and he held him off for large parts of the game. But then the problem was, well, a problem for him, not for us, that when Ozturk was sent off, he took Ollie Hawkins off almost immediately after. Surely, if I was Jack, then I'd be thinking, right, hang on, the lad who's been holding off our big lad all game's just gone. Surely now let's have him up against Flanagan, who's about,
I sort of see the thinking behind it, because Bogle is a big lad, but he's a bit more mobile than Hawkins is.
Yeah.
But the first thing I noticed was, why is he wearing gloves? It's not that cold.
No.
What's that about? And I know that sounds daft, but to me, if I was a player playing against him, I'd think, you're not up for this, really, are you?
No, you're not. Yeah, if you're hearing your hat and your woolly scarf, I don't really think you're in for the fight. You're up for the fight, really, are you? No. I mean, he's a loanee. He's on loan from Cardiff, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
But he just ran around kicking people and making daft fouls, and he actually set Portsmouth back a long way, because when they had a chance to get a foothold in the game, he was keep giving us free kicks.
There was an issue as well at the end because I think there was like a bit of handbags between him and Kenny Jackett because he wouldn't go and applaud the away fans. So I don't think he's the kind of character.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
I caught that. Yeah, so I don't think he's the kind of character really that perhaps was up.
I've been totally unimpressed by them. I thought
I think he's a bit naff.
He's played us a few times now in the season, and I just think.
Yeah, I'm glad we had Kaz Sterling over him. To be honest, I say that one ironically. At least I'd rather have a young lad who's willing to prove himself with minimal experience than just a Premier League loanee who possibly just thinks that this is all above him really. But anyway,
perhaps, yeah.
I'm making assumptions about this character that I can't really.
Based on the fact he was wearing gloves.
Well, you know what? No, that's fair enough. I think
there's one psychology of it going. Oh, you're wearing gloves. Oh, well,
I can't remember whose book I read, but they said about that, and they're like, as soon as I saw a player who was wearing gloves, I just thought I'm having you.
Yeah, soft.
Yeah.
If Roy Keane sees someone walk on the pitch with even with a thermal vest and a pair of gloves, he'd be like, hang on.
I was told a story about Kevin Ball where, when he was in charge of the academy, the kids who were wearing gloves, the coaches would be like, quick, Bally's going, get your gloves off, and they'll all roll their sleeves up.
Yes. That's what you want. That's the culture you want. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to the game on Thursday a lot more than I thought I would be.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and be a positive approach about it. I did say I'm a bit suspicious about Sunderland's form and the way we are. Sunderland being Sunderland. It's not over yet, as the hashtag is at the moment. Is that right? That's the right hashtag?
It's not done yet.
Not done yet.
Not done yet.
I'm going to be optimistic. I think we'll get a draw, which will be enough for us to go through.
It won't just be a draw, Johnny. It will be the penultimate 1-1 of the season. It'll be the 1-1 that finally secures our final step to promotion. That's what it'll be.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely glorious. I don't know. Any parting thoughts from you, Gav?
I just think it's good to have some momentum going into this game because this was always the harder of the two games. I felt. Just think they're a better. I know their form doesn't suggest it because their home form's actually not that great, but I just think. Back to the game earlier in the season when, all right, we were the better team till we had a man sent off. But I just think once they had the man advantage, the crowd really played its part.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to cut straight across you here. Do you get a trophy for winning the playoffs?
Yes,
do you?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Sorry,
you do.
Sorry. Keep talking now. I'm just going to go.
Then you don't get a trophy for second place.
Yeah. The trophy. You get a trophy for winning the playoffs, just like Salford did yesterday when they got promoted. Same with the playoffs in the Championship. You get a trophy.
Yeah, that is weird. That's really weird. Playoffs.
But it probably isn't considered like an important trophy, when people look back at it.
I suppose there's probably more pressure that goes into the playoffs than there does into finishing second, if that makes sense.
I remember at the start of the season, I might have actually been on here when I said it, that if I could pick the route to the Championship, it would be winning that playoffs.
Well, just for the spectacle.
Yeah, getting to see Sunderland win at Wembley, But obviously now sitting here, I'm gutted we never went up automatic because... The pressure of having to play these extra games is difficult to deal with. I'm glad the players dealt with it well yesterday because the fans certainly didn't. I know people were really nervous, weren't they, and maybe not feeling too up for it.
Yeah.
In the ground it was brilliant. I thought the atmosphere, considering it was the lowest crowd of the season for a league game, was brilliant.
Absolutely.
South Stand, Southwest corner especially, were just loud constantly. I never sat down. I'm in the southwest and I stood the whole game.
Mate, I'll tell you how you know it was good atmosphere, right? I was sat, I don't normally sit here, but I was sat in the northeast corner for that particular game. The northeast corner was loud.
Yeah.
If that's not an indication that was a good atmosphere, then I don't know what is, because it's never loud over there.
We just never sat the whole game. It was brilliant. And I just think when it boils down to it, and people are worried all week, would there be a big crowd there? It doesn't matter because the ones that are there, as long as they're like really behind the team,
singing the hearts out for the lads.
Then what does it matter? There could have been 40,000 people in the ground yesterday, and you wouldn't have known the difference atmosphere-wise.
It matters not. It does not matter at all.
The commentator made a comment when I watched the goal back.
Hang on, sorry. That's pretty exclusive. That Gav. The commentator made a comment.
Yeah, he made a.
Can they do that? Commentators. Can commentators make comments?
It's part of the job description. Yeah. When Maguire scored, he says something along the lines of like the noise has just lifted the roof off or something like that. And you think we've whinged all week trying to like get people to come and make a big deal out of the game.
Yeah.
And to be honest, did it matter?
No.
Because it was loud in there and you wouldn't have known it was 26,000.
Yeah, if you get another 2K coming along reluctantly, does it really boost the atmosphere. Not saying that you have to be constantly shouting while you're there, but I think the people who were there did a brilliant job.
There was a sense of occasion, even though it was a lower crowd.
It was, of course, as well a 7:45 kickoff, so you got about 3 more hours for pints, which
That's
is
it.
always helpful.
Well, it did for the
Doncaster game.
Doncaster game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the atmosphere was outstanding.
Absolutely, was it? Yeah, I think we're more or less good to end that there, unless you have any other talking
I
points,
think
boys.
you could look sometimes at the game psychology, and maybe, and I highly doubt it, but Kenny Jackett might be looking at it and going like, we didn't really play that well today, but Sunderland will have the momentum and they'll believe in their head. Maybe we can get through, and then Portsmouth will take advantage of that. And
I heard his interview after the game, and he, apart from the ridiculous comment about Ozturk's red card, he said, it's half time. We're quite happy with the scoreline. It's not the end of the world. It's not a disaster, is what he said.
Are you, though? Are you really happy with a 1-0 loss to Jack Ross's Red and White Wizards? No, but honestly, I just as a parting comment, I just want to say that it's taken us 4 attempts to beat them, right? And I think there was an element of, if we didn't beat them this game, we were never going to. Because I think 4 times to not beat a team is a bit farcical, even though a lot of those games have been very unlucky.
Yeah,
I think if we came away with a 0-0 or a 1-1, we might think, God, we're just not going to overturn them, are we? Especially off the back of that red card. We might go there thinking, right, well, we haven't done it yet, so what we've got to do it now when we're away again.
Balls in their court.
Balls in their court, yeah. And then
pressure's on them.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, now that we've beat them, I think Portsmouth themselves will be very worried. I think they might sort of think that maybe we haven't found out Sunderland because we've just been, very comfortably beaten by them.
Yeah.
And going into the second leg, while this is on our home turf, they've got a goal up and they've now got the momentum. So I think the ball's in neither court. I think it's very up in the air.
They weren't confident before the game yesterday.
They weren't.
And they're going to be even less confident now.
No. So I think we've just got to strike while the iron's hot, and we've got to just get into them early doors, get an early goal, and just watch them just
if we score an early goal, then
drop the backsides, basically.
Quite confident we'll get through.
Yeah. Well, that's that. Anyway, during at some point in our dialogue there, I've got the playoff final trophy up. I'm very much looking forward to us getting to the Wembley again. We'll put the champagne on ice. We'll go to Wembley twice, etc. It's going to happen.
I'm sure the
at
ticket
Fratton
office
Park.
is delighted at the idea of
absolutely. And what a great trophy it'll be to lift. I mean, what you have as an advantage over the Checker Trade Trophy, right? Just got a little cross-reference of them here. The Checker Trade Trophy doesn't have any handles.
It doesn't.
The playoffs trophy does, and it's a lot more of a traditional trophy shape. Plus, it's got 2 bits of bunting hanging off the handles, as opposed to just sort of as opposed to a white and gold bit of ribbon that hangs from the bowl of the Checker Trade Trophy. So, obviously, I mean, I was very much a fan of the design of the Checker Trade, but now that I've had a taste of the good life here, I only want to see Alim Ozturk lifting this. I couldn't care less. If someone of our players clasped the hand around the Checker Trade Trophy's base, they could easily drop it. There's no risk. There's no the due diligence was done.
Yes.
With the Sky Bet Playoffs trophy, so that's good for me. That's really got me in the mood to watch us in the final. So
if that was what does it for you, mate, no?
Well, that's what motivates you to go to Wembley and watch us lift this trophy.
I just think that sometimes you need to appreciate the craftsmanship. That's all, and I just think it's very important. Is there anything else here that I can? Anything else
here? Just looking out for the little man, the trophy maker.
I always advocate the little man. I mean, there's also 2 sort of lines of sort of definition going across the top of the Sky Bet.
Our wonderful fans are all right then, so you definitely are a
completely.
Because you would look into things like this if you design more.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm sure I have a shade of silver from my Games Workshop paint set that would make a perfect replica of such a trophy.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's actually the only reason I watch football, is because I like to design trophies based on my favourite Warhammer figurines. Is that what they're called, figurines?
I believe so, yes. Yes, we'll get it right. You should know this, come on.
I really should, yeah.
Look, excuse me, I'm going to go play World of Warcraft before you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's that, boys. So, yeah, hopefully I've painted a nice picture in your head there, Gav, what the trophy looks like, as you can't see it
your
here.
Screen, yeah.
But surely
it sounds amazing.
It's the Valhalla of trophies, Gav. Honestly, it's if this trophy deserves a trophy, it's that good.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Then.
Thank you very much for entertaining me on that bit of an off-key rant at the end there, but we managed to get about an hour of discourse there that was actually meaningful. So if you turned off it at this point, then that's absolutely fair enough, and I won't do this too often. I just felt like bringing that up again because it looks quite nice. But anyway, thank you very much to Gav, Graham and Johnny for joining me in the studio today, boys.
No problem.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
Aye. Yeah, Graham didn't reply because he left. So yeah,
You had to get a train.
yeah, he had to get a train. You know, he's sort of like meandering around Sunderland now.
Those passionate rapport fans.
Yeah,
Try and see if you can pinpoint the moment when Graham leaves. You might hear it. If you can really be bothered, listen to this all again and find the bit where he leaves.
yeah.
And if you do,
there's a prize.
We'll follow you on Twitter.
If you can pinpoint if you can pinpoint the exact moment in minutes and seconds and milliseconds, if you can pinpoint it precisely, I will.
Alex will give you one of these figurines.
No.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm not giving them away, Johnny. No, I'll mail you a star bar if you do all of that. That's a promise.
All right.
I'll if you can find the first person to find the exact moment that Graham leaves the podcast studio, I will mail you first class a star bar, and that's a promise. Thank you.
That's worth it. To be fair, like.
Honestly, I mean, to be honest, like, it's minimal effort, and it's
more than any trophy.
Minimal effort, minimal reward. You know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you very much for entertaining us and our terrible senses of humour, mainly mine, but. Terrible senses of humour. Thank you very much, and I look forward to recounting our win over Portsmouth at their place. How are the lads up the boys? It's the hope I can't stand, etc.
Not done yet.
Not done yet.
Say it after me. Come on then!
Taking off the shot, somebody MC Tesso!
Come on then!
Check, 1, 2. MC stopping, MC Tesso coming in!
DJ Direct Fancy Session. Everybody ready for the rush in a place.
MC stomping, Tesso, microphone, baseline, bumping.
Winding up the rhythm, winding up the vibe. People get too rich to beat the rush, come alive. Big up the Tesso, MC stomping, up to this control. Everybody ready? Oh yes, here we go. Hands in the air now. Let me see some hands in the air.
I'm not running from the crew, you know it. MC Tesso stop and say get them hands up in the air.
Put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up. Let me see your hands raised up.
DJ Direct there, rising up for the MC.
Ready? Everybody else, you ready? Wakey, wakey.
Ha ha! Listen up! Bring it away! MC stomping, on right song!
Everybody get the beat, the stick, you jumping high. MC Tesso, MC stomping, ready to fly.
Sit up and down!
Bit of moving, this is full control.
Outside you go!
1, 2, 3, 4, go, go, get it, go.
See ya, I guess I'm watching back and one of it is so funny.
Come on, Dave.
Now that's a get to back. Hit you with the side of it.
Okay.
Round and back, it's not a bit. Back and down, it's on our left.
Okay.
Back and down, it's on our head. Check it out.
Bring it out, bring it out, bring it away. Wanna get busy,
Outside
right
you
inside.
today.
Once you think you jump around, change it up and down. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
We're coming on.
MC Tesso, MC stomping down for the number one, you will
Yeah,
play.
listen up, that's what I said. Living by the beat, you know. Listen up and you will know. How we giving back this how we giving that to everyone. Even at the biggest drop. Stop it up with money, Johnny. One of my two Johnny will play.
Sound of DJ Direct in this house. All the whistle diddle plays. Noise if you want some bass. Cause I can't find it here. Y'all bring it up. Come on.
Here we go.
My DJ, my music control.
Fat bullpen, fat bullpen. MC Tesso, MC Stompin.
Everybody got this, that's how that's it, you
So
see.
pick it up, talk.
To the beat now, move to the beat now.
Outside walker. Outside of here. Yeah.
MC Tesso with the beat, the rush come alive. You got it.
Could've been Pam, could've been you, that could've been me, could've been that kid. Could've been you, that could've been now, but could've been this time, but it's not going to give me MC Stompin. He's rocking by my side. Let's get filled. Jump on dance floor.
Want to get higher?
You want to get higher?
I want to get higher.